All right, let's keep going. Next stanza. But lustrous Calypso shuddered at those words and burst into a flight of indignation. Hard-hearted you are, you gods, you unrivaled lords of jealousy, scandalized when goddesses sleep with mortals openly, even when one has made the man her husband. So when Dawn with her rose-red fingers took Orion, you gods in your everlasting ease were horrified till chaste Artemis, enthroned in gold, attacked him out on Delos, shot him to death with gentle shafts. And so when Demeter, the graceful one with lovely braids, gave way to her passion and made love with Iazon, bedding down in a furrow plowed 3 times, Zeus got wind of it soon enough, I'd say, and blasted the man to death with flashing bolts. So now at last, you gods, you train your spite on me for keeping a mortal man beside me, the man I saved, riding astride his keelboard all alone when Zeus, with one hurl of a white-hot bolt, had crushed his racing warship down the wine-dark sea. There all the rest of his loyal shipmates died. But the wind drove him on, the current bore him here, and I welcomed him warmly, cherished him, even vowed to make the man immortal, ageless, all his days. But since there is no way for another god to thwart the will of storming Zeus and make it come to nothing, let the man go. If the Almighty insists, commands, and destroys himself on the barren salt sea, I'll send him off, but not with any escort. I've no ships to reach, no crew to ply the oars, and setting him scudding over the sea's broad, I probably should have moved this up. There we go. The sea's broad back. I will gladly advise him. I'll hide nothing, so he can reach his native country all unharmed. All right, that was a long stanza. Let's talk about it. I underlined a bunch of words up at the top because I think that they're interesting in describing Calypso. She shuddered and burst into flights of indignation. I did some epithets. There's kenning down here. There's another epithet here. And I saw some, plot lines. So I squiggle underlined some plot lines here. I did underline this right here with a highlighter because that's what I was doing in my copy of the book. That's repetition. You'll notice that Homer keeps repeating this phrase. So when Dawn with her rose red fingers, Dawn is waking up for the day. And I put some notes about how to pronounce Iazon and Orion. So the big thing that Calypso is upset about here, hopefully you heard her frustration in her voice, is that there's a double standard here. That other goddesses can sleep with mortal men. Zeus sleeps with mortals all the time, but when she does it, she gets in trouble. And she gives some examples. Like she gives Dawn and she gives Artemis here. She gives Demeter. And she's saying there's examples of this in our own, mythology. And then you all are getting mad at me because I slept with Odysseus. She does also say she saved Odysseus. So she's like, it's not like I tricked him. I saved him. And then we slept together. So I have that written down, like Calypso goddess made Odysseus a man, her husband, by sleeping with him. She's noting hypocrisy. She's not the first goddess to bed a mortal, blah, blah, blah. So then down here at the bottom, I put a box around these last 2 lines because they're divine intervention. She's a god and she's a goddess and she's going to help. So I'm going to read 2 for this next one, and we'll go ahead and get through these 2, and you keep marking down things. So, and the guide, the giant killer, and reinforced her words. Release him at once, just so. Steer clear of the rage of Zeus, or down the years he'll fume and make your life a hell. With that, the powerful giant killer sped away. The queenly nymph sought out the great Odysseus, the commands of Zeus still ringing in her ears, and found him there on the headland sitting still, weeping his eyes never dry, his sweet life flowing away with the tears he wept for his foiled journey home, since the nymph no longer pleased. In the nights, true, he'd sleep with her in the arching cave. He had no choice. Unwilling lover alongside lover all too willing. But all his days he'd sit on the rocks and beaches, wrenching his heart with sobs and groans and anguish, gazing out over the barren sea through blinding tears. So coming up to him now, the lustrous goddess ventured, No need, my unlucky one, to grieve here any longer. No, don't waste your life away. Now I am willing, heart and soul, to send you off at last. Come, take bronze tools, cut your lengthy timbers, make them into a broad-beamed raft, and top it with a half deck high enough to sweep you free and clear on the misty seas. And I myself will stock her with food and water, ruddy wine to your taste, all to stave off hunger, give you clothing, send you a stiff following wind, so you can reach your native country all unharmed. If only the gods were willing. They rule the vaulting skies. They are stronger than I to plan and drive things home. So, lots of things going on. There's some kennings, some epithets. I underlined queenly because it's describing Calypso. Lots of plot lines going on in here. So she says, all right, I'm going to go with what Zeus told me to do, and I'm going to we're going to help you make a raft. Here's some tools. Here's some materials. I'm going to stock it with food and water for you, food and wine, and we'll send you on your way. Like it describes Odysseus every night he sleeps with Calypso, and it says that he's forced to, right? Which that's not Calypso's story earlier on, she's not saying that she's forcing Odysseus to sleep with her. But he suggests here that he is being forced, right? And then divine intervention down here at the bottom. In the margins, I wrote, it's time to make a raft. It says that Odysseus has stopped sleeping with Calypso because it makes him too homesick. Like he doesn't want to do it anymore. But there's still this idea that he's being forced. Like he had no choice in the beginning. And there's a suggestion there that he's still doing it. So it's double standard because Odysseus is, all right, I'm off and I'm at war. And you're going to see throughout his stories, he does sleep with several other women. But the expectation is that Penelope is going to stay true and virtuous, and that's one of her qualities. When we go and we talk about Penelope as she's staying virtuous and she's not giving in to temptation, but it's okay for Odysseus to give in to temptation. Whatever. All right, let's keep going. Long enduring Odysseus shudders at that and broke out in a sharp flight of protest. Passage home? Never. Surely you're plotting something else, goddess, urging me in a raft to cross the mighty gulfs, so vast, so full of danger, not even deep sea ships can make it through, swift as they are, and buoyed up by the winds of Zeus himself. I won't set foot on a raft until you show good faith, until you consent to swear, goddess, a binding oath, you'll never plot some new intrigue to harm me. So, I put a box around these lines here, trickery, right? Odysseus, there's lots in the Odyssey about tricks and plans and schemes. Odysseus is super worried about this because he is afraid that she's tricking him and that he's going to go out and then be killed out on the ocean. And then down here, he's asking for her to give him an oath. He was so intense. The lustrous goddess smiled, stroked him with her hands, savored his name, and chided, "Ah, what a wicked man you are, never at a loss. What a thing to imagine, what a thing to say. Earth, be my witness now, with a vaulting sky above and the dark cascading waters of the Styx. I swear by the greatest, grimmest oath that binds the happy gods, I will never plot some new intrigue to harm you. Never! All I have in mind and devise for you are the very plans I'd fashion for myself. If I were in your straits, my every impulse bends to what is right. Not iron, trust me, my heart within my breast, I'm all compassion." So there we go. Calypso swears by the sky and by the river Styx that she is not going to trick him, that she is going to be true. And lustrous Calypso quickly led the way as he followed in the footsteps of the goddess. They reached the arching cavern, man and god as one, and Odysseus took the seat that Hermes just left, while the nymph set out before him every kind of food and drink that mortal man will take. So right there we have some xenia, some hospitality. She's giving him all the best stuff. Calypso sat down face to face with the king, and the woman served her nectar and ambrosia. They reached out for the good things that lay at hand, and when they had their fill of food and drink, the lustrous one took up a new approach. So then, royal son of Laertes, Odysseus, man of exploits, still eager to leave at once and hurry back to your own home, your beloved native land, good luck to you even so, farewell. But if you only knew down deep what pains are fated to fill your cup before you reach that shore, you'd stay right here, preside in our house with me, and be immortal. Much as you long to see your wife, the one you pine for all your days, and yet I just might claim to be nothing less than she, neither in face nor figure. Hardly right is it for mortal woman to rival immortal goddess. How in build, in beauty. So we have some fate stuff. We had a bunch of kenning all right around each other, and then fate. So she says, if you only knew, Calypso can see the future. She knows what's going to happen to Odysseus. And she says, if you knew what was going to happen, I can't tell you, but if you knew, you would not leave and you would stay with me and be immortal. And there's some jealousy there. She says, how can Penelope, this human woman, be like challenge me, right? How can a mortal woman challenge, rival an immortal goddess? So here's Odysseus's answer. Ah, great goddess, worldly Odysseus answered, don't be angry with me. Please, all that you say is true. How well I know. Look at my wise Penelope. She falls far short of you, your beauty, stature. She is mortal after all, and you never age or die. Nevertheless, I long, I pine all my days to travel home and see the dawn of my return. And if a god will wreck me yet again on the wine dark sea, I can bear that too. And with a spirit tempered to endure, much have I suffered, labored long, and hard by now in the waves and wars. Add this to the total. Bring the trial on. As he spoke, the sun set and the darkness swept over the earth. And now, withdrawing into the cavern's deep recesses, longing each other's arms, they lost themselves in love. Oh no, he's doing it again. So he says, he tries to, put Calypso's mind at ease. No, you're not. Penelope is wonderful. I love her, but you are far more beautiful. Don't tell Penelope that. And then he says, bring it on. I can do this, right? I've had trials my entire life. I can totally take on the trials now. I'm going to make it home. There is some repetition right here, right? Homer brings up this phrase a lot. The sun set and darkness swept the earth. And then they have sex again. They do it again. Those silly kids. All right. We'll pick up this next stanza. Sorry. There we go.